Well, once you figure out that you are the creator of your own reality, and that your reality is created by your focus or attention, and that you have guidance within you to help you to focus that attention, to just sort of feel your way to the best feeling focus, then you do appreciate the variety that surrounds you, because it is always that variety that helps you to decide. And isn't a decision focus? Sometimes people aren't so eager to express their appreciation for contrast, but it's only always because they haven't figured out how to focus, or they haven't figured out what the criteria for focusing is. If there's just a lot of variety, and you're just giving all of your attention, or wanted and unwanted your attention, then you've got a sort of sloppy focus going on, which means you've got a sort of sloppy point of attraction going on. And when you are not focused deliberately, or when you're creating by default, then you get some of what you want and some of what you don't want. And there's no real downside to that, because in that process you get more and more clear about what you do want. But if the clarity about what you do want is coming on stronger and stronger, but your ability to focus on what you want is not becoming more practiced, then you just get a bigger life, but it's not a comfortable life. It gets bigger. There's a lot more variety. You can parlay your life into really wonderful things. We've been saying to you for a while, when you know what you don't want, you know what you do want, and there's a bounce in that, because when you know what you don't want, a rocket of desire shoots out of you. And so knowing what you do want is predicated in part upon knowing about what you don't want. We just don't want you to make a life career out of knowing what you don't want. We want you to get more oriented toward knowing what you do want and speaking more about what you do want, and therefore practicing more of the vibration of what you do want, and therefore holding a more consistent vibrational point of attraction about what you do want, and therefore setting a vibrational grid that aligns with the core grid. We'll talk about grids all through this day, because we want you to begin to consciously acknowledge your point of attraction. So you are much more than you see in these physical bodies. You know that? If you've been listening to us for a while, you know that. You are vibrational beings, mostly, primarily. Do you know that? You're so good at being vibrational, you don't even know you are. You are translating vibration so efficiently into the physical senses that you don't even realize that you are a vibrational being, but you are. And your emotions are your strongest indicator of your vibrational stance. Your emotions give you a combined awareness of the mixture between the emotion of what you're focused upon right here in this moment, the vibration, emotion, vibration, emotion, vibration, emotion. They're not the same thing. The vibration vibrates and the emotion responds to the vibration. The emotion lets you know the mix. That's really what the emotion is. It lets you know your mix of vibration. Well, who am I mixed with? I can see if I focus upon something that I could be emanating a vibration, you say. But what am I mixing with? The vibration of your larger being, the vibration of who you really are, the vibration of your inner being. You can always feel that mix. And the better you feel, the less resistance in the mix. The core of you is one who appreciates and loves. And when you find fault with someone, when you hate them, when you find fault with what they're doing or what they're saying or how they're being or how they're thinking or even what they're wanting, then you get crossways in your vibration from the core of you, and that mix lets you know your crossways. And so sometimes you may want to know, we would if we were standing in your physical shoes, well, can I trust this emotion? Can I trust it? How do I know that what I'm mixing with has a clear view? How do I know that that's guidance that I want to follow? We say, try it for a little while and see how it turns out. Your inner being will never lead you to something unwanted, because all day, every day, as you are exploring the variety and knowing what you don't want and knowing what you do want, you are emanating these vibrational rockets that precede your manifestation. They do. And they vibrationally are held in what we've been lovingly calling your vortex. It's a swirling, because law of attraction is gathering all cooperative components to it. It's a swirling vibrational state of being where all of your preferences are held. Does that make any sense at all to you? We've written a few books about it, and there are more coming. Have you been reading them? Have you been listening to us going on and on and on? Because we can go on and on longer about your vortex. Your vortex is this gathering place, this vibrational gathering place of all of your preferences. And it didn't just start the day you got here. It's been going on as long as you have existed, which is longer than we have time to even begin to explain to you. It's a long pattern of becoming the pure positive energy being that you are. So here's this vortex which vibrationally contains all that you are, and here you are in your physical body, brilliant, genius, personality that you are, moving through life experience, and as you're moving through life experience, you are focusing upon a variety of things. You're listening to your kids, you're listening to your mother, you're listening to your lover, you're watching television, you're reading books, you're observing traffic, and you are integrated in the world and you are observing. And when you are focused upon something that is a vibrational match to all that you've become, for example, when you're loving someone or appreciating someone, when you are making those lists of positive aspects, you are so in sync with what's in your vortex and who you really are that your vibrational mix is one of elation, of appreciation, of love. When you've got that kind of mix going on, you are thriving. You are your most powerful state of allowing. Your most powerful state of allowing all that you are. Hear this. Oh, so good. All that you are to be present in this moment. Present in this powerful moment where all that is you is focused. Now you have the ability to focus yourself out of sync with all that you are. Just get mad at someone. That'll do it in a hurry. You have the ability to focus yourself out of sync with who you are when you criticize, when you find fault, when you justify, when you defend, when you rationalize, when you explain why you want that because you don't want that. That's what gets you more than anything. And so often you say, but Abraham, you say I'm here to sift through contrast. Really? Is that why I'm here, to sift through contrast? And we say contrast is a natural byproduct of being in your world. You came to be this leading edge explorer of variety, knowing that from that focus you would come to your own personal conclusions. And when you decided to come into this body, you knew that those personal conclusions were important. So important that all that is would back you up when you come to one. So when someone's rude to you and you want them to be nicer, Source backs you up. And every time they're rude, you feel the discord. Or every time you think about them being rude, you feel the discord. Or every time you're rude back, even though they deserve it, you feel the discord. Because the source within you never goes there. The source within you always takes the bounce. Always knows that when you know what you don't want, you know what you do want. So Source aligns with that. In fact, that's what the evolution of all species about, is the basis of this expanding universe, is the basis of everything that exists. Variety, which helps you to focus. We are here visiting with you because you ask us to come. You ask us to come, and our greatest value to you is we'll help you focus on what you want, but you have to do the work. As we're visiting here together today, we'll talk about who you are, and we will express from our perspective of who you really are, until you will begin to vibrate as you really are. You really will. You really are. So as you are vibrating in alliance, in allowance, in harmony with who you really are, when you have a thought that's crossways of it, you'll really know it. That's why we and many teachers encourage meditation. Because when you meditate, you quiet your mind. When you quiet your mind, you stop thought. When you stop thought, you stop resistance. When you stop resistance, you align with the fullness of that which you are. And if you do it pretty consistently, when you're out of whack with who you are, you feel it in a stronger way. If you're out of whack regularly, then you don't notice it. Then it feels normal. The people who aren't out of whack look weird to you. That person is far too happy for their own good. That person is delusional. That person is not facing reality. And we say, that's what we teach. Never face reality. Because you are the creator of reality. You're the creator. Don't face what is, choose what's better and focus upon that. And hold yourself in the vibrational stance that the better keeps coming to you. And the stance that we are wanting to help you to discover and practice, the concept that we want you to acknowledge and understand until it is your knowing, is that you have a point of attraction that you have control over, and that you control your point of attraction by caring about how you feel and by focusing yourself into alignment with what feels best. Sometimes you want to take action that seems to line things up in a faster way. And of course, action is often inspired. But we want to help you to understand that if you will focus upon your basis of attraction by paying attention to the way you are feeling, that you will understand this concept of deliberate creation. And you will then be that deliberate creative genius who you intended to be as you came forth into this physical body and this magnificently balanced time-space reality. You said, I'll go forth and I'll sift and sort and I'll come to my own conclusions. And when I come to a decision about what I think would be better, I will give that my undivided attention. I will no longer justify why I want that by pointing out how bad that is. And as I practice the thought of what I want, it will become such a vibrational habit for me. That's all a belief is. A belief is just a vibrational habit. It's a thought you keep thinking. It will become such a vibrational habit for me that as I emanate that vibrational signal, law of attraction will bring things to me that match that. And of course, that makes sense, doesn't it? You sort of get it. You've been mixing it up. You get that what you think about comes to you. It shows up fast enough that it's not a big mystery anymore. You don't call yourself lucky or cursed anymore. You say, when something wonderful would happen to Esther, she would say, I did that. And when something not so wonderful would happen, she would say, I did that too. Don't tell anyone. But once you get the hang of this, once you begin to make the association between what you're thinking and how you're feeling and what's coming back to you, then you begin to get your sea legs. Then you begin to be a deliberate creator, a conscious, deliberate creator. So now we want you to understand that, it is so nice when you begin to recognize that you get what you think about, whether you want it or not. Because you activate a vibration, that vibration is powerful, it attracts other things like it, and you begin to notice these patterns. It's easier to notice them in others, isn't it? Especially those you live with. So easy to see the things that they're doing that are messing up your life, you see. But after a while, you begin to recognize that if you're not giving attention to what you think they're doing that's messing up your life, then it's not in your vibration. It's only by your attention to it. You really don't need to worry about what anybody else is doing unless you're giving attention to what they're doing and using what they're doing and your attention to what they're doing as your excuse to hold yourself out of vibrational frequency with who you really are and what you really want. Isn't that nice to know? Say yes. Yes. But we want you to understand something even further, that while, yes, it is a wonderful thing to understand that law of attraction is responding to the vibrational frequency that you are outputting, that there is a vibrational frequency that you have been outputting for a very long time that comes from the source, from the core, from the inner being of that which you are. And when you get out of sync with that, you don't feel good. And when you get in sync with that, you feel wonderful. And here is the best part of this whole thing, the best of all. When you acknowledge that that inner being part of you exists, and that it is the knower and the holder and the vibrational practicer and beer and emitter of the signal of all that you are, we're calling it your core grid. It's the energy that emanates from the very core of that which you are. When you understand that that signal is emanating, that it's flowing into your moment right here and now, it's not off in some heavenly place waiting for you to croak and catch up with it. It's right here, out here on the leading edge. All that you are is focused out here on the leading edge with you, in your powerful now, where all that is new is happening. So as this source energy is focused with you out here on the leading edge, and you happen in that moment to be standing in a place of alignment with who you are, whoa, what a good moment you're having. That's when love is radiating through you. That's when you're clear. That's when you're dynamic. That's when you're flexible. That's when you're clear-minded. That's when your heart is singing. That's when you feel good. That's when you're tuned in, tapped in, turned on. That's when your jokes are funniest because your timing is exquisite. That's when you look the best and feel the best. That's when you are the best. That's when you're allowing all that you've become to be present right here, right now, having this conversation with whoever you're having this conversation. In other words, to be tuned to who you are and living in your powerful now. That's what you planned. And everything else is just off a tad.